So there's been a lot of depressing, what? Downright malicious Hunter x Hunter news that's been coming out over the past few months. And your boy's been tired. I've been tired of seeing the Hunter x Hunter slander. I've been, to be fair, my hopes all the time with Hunter x Hunter for the return dwindle down every freaking month. But at the same time, I know when Togashi does, and he will come back, I know it's going to be a marvelous day. The angels will blast their trumpets, and Jesus will watch from the heavens as the newest chapter of Hunter x Hunter is released across the world. That being said, I figure instead of doing a Hunter x Hunter video that makes Hunter x Hunter fans like myself even more depressed, even sinks us further down to the abyss, like Dante's Inferno style, let's do a good video. Yes! Let's actually talk about the good of Hunter x Hunter. And not just Hunter x Hunter, but Togashi as an author. I've said before, on the record, Togashi, to me, is the best mangaka in Shonen. He is the best mangaka in Shonen. Between Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, he is my number one author. Now, I'm gonna speak more in general terms rather than speaking about this in like specific detail. Like, if I were to go to everything very deeply, then it'd be a 40+ minute video, which I don't want to do. No. And listen, it is my personal opinion, all right? If you want to put Oda as your number one, fine. If it's Kishimoto, fine. If it's for some reason Akira Toriyama,
oh, you crazy.
That's up to you. Everyone has their own speed. But I'm going to explain the reason why, in a general term, why Togashi is my number one author of Shonen Jump. Fair warning, spoilers ahead for Hunter x Hunter and Yu Hakusho. So, let's get right into the categories. Number one, world building. At this point in time, excellent, absolutely excellent potential for world building in Hunter x Hunter. Encroaching, I would say, on One Piece and Toriko levels of world building. Now, first of all, though, for Yu Hakusho, compared to Hunter x Hunter, it's not as deep in terms of world building, but it's still pretty good in of itself. You do have a great use of locations across the human world as well as the demon world. The demon world itself very vast, but separated by 3 different major regions, each ruled by their own demon king, Raizen, Roku, and Yomi. You have locations like Hanging Neck Island, an island that is secluded, hidden from the rest of the world, where demons congregate to enjoy the Dark Tournament. You have the mysterious places of the spirit world that are kept under veil. I love seeing spirit world's influence on the human world and then its lack thereof on the demon world. That was a crazy thing finding that out in Yu Hakusho, where you find out that in Yu Hakusho, the spirit world controls like the first half of the upper layer of the demon world, and then the lower layers, like the deeper realm, they have no control over, absolutely zero. Another thing I did like in Yu Hakusho as well was also the usage of the history and the lore of the spirits and the demons and their interaction with humans and how that's affected the human world in various ways, as well as the demon world. Some things like, for example, the Chapter Black VCH, well, bringing it back, baby. The Chapter Black VCH exists. When you find out during the Chapter Black saga, not the actual set itself, but the saga, where humans themselves could be far more malicious and far more evil than even demons themselves, that was very intriguing to see. So the level of world building that you see in Yu is actually pretty good. Now, Hunter x Hunter is very rich. It is very rich in its world building. Not only do you have well-developed power dynamics in certain groups, for example, the Phantom Troop, you have the Hunters in the Zodiac 12, you have the Mafia families, which we're seeing now come back in a big way in the current arc of Hunter x Hunter. You do have the Zoldyck family and their criminal and assassin influence all over the world, seeing how even high-end hunters would hire the Zoldyck family for assassination attempts and how that impacts the world of Hunter x Hunter. Very intriguing. And then in terms of, let's say, locations or environment, it's kind of crazy how Togashi have a place like York New City, which is like, I would say, a standard location and environment, nothing really too crazy. You have something like that, and then you have something like Meteor City, where Meteor City, it's a mysterious place that the Phantom Troop originate from. It's decrepit, it's nasty, full of with junk and rubble, at least you would assume, but then there are layers to Meteor City that are completely kept hidden, that in the future, we're hoping, at least I'm hoping, that Togashi does reveal a lot more about it, because Meteor City could really be an interesting spot for a whole new arc at some point in the future of the series, because there's so much depth to it. And then you have something like Meteor City to something like Greed Island, where it's Greed Island is impressive. Greed Island, in terms of world building and ecosystem in of itself, a game island that has its own unique system and structure built by Jin Freaks and I think it was 3 or 4 other friends, and how they actually incorporated their Nen into 100 of these unique game consoles to get transported. It's like, yo, Greed Island was masterful in terms of world building. Greed Island was masterful. It was really an invention of itself, and it was really, really cool to see. And even still, the world building levels skyrocket. The world building levels spike when the Dark Continent rolls on in.
とてつもなく大きな世界のほんの一部だってことにね。
That was shockingly impressive. The Dark Continent reveal, the realization of the small scope of what we know as the Hunter x Hunter human world. Lake Mobius, dude. Lake Mobius! Oh man, I had your boy sweating buckets, boy. I had to go take a shower when I found out that Lake Mobius was actually that stunned me. Lake Mobius, where the human world currently resides in the center of Lake Mobius. Finding out that there are untamed waters outside of the human world, where new continents exist, where humanity itself hasn't laid ground on, and then from the untamed waters in the outskirts of the human world to the dark waters, vast stretches of lake several times as large as the actual human world itself, and outside of that lake, the unknown of the Dark Continent itself. Finding out the place where Gon and Jin were talking on top of that tree, that world tree was just a sapling. It was just a sapling. Oh. And the actual world tree itself embeds its roots into mountains and volcanic structures as a means of nourishing itself, and goes well beyond into the stratosphere. Dog. Oh my god. When the Dark Continent stuff hits, after the Kaken country make their play, forcing themselves into the V5, now the V6, and then finding out about their past attempts to enter the Dark Continent. And then from there, the 5 calamities that resulted from the expeditions into the Dark Continent. Dude. The world building levels of Hunter x Hunter with the Dark Continent spiked. And it is an absolutely phenomenal endeavor if Togashi can actually pull it off. Oh man. So in terms of world building, Togashi is one of the best, absolutely one of the best in Shonen Jump.
10. 念オーラを体の周囲に留める技
Now the next category is going to be power systems. I think, well no, that's a lie. I know that Nen is one of the best, if not the best power system I have read in Shonen Jump, period. Better than Naruto, better than Bleach, One Piece, DBZ, My Hero, Demon Slayer, JJK so far in the anime, Hitman Reborn, you name it. Hunter x Hunter has a better power system than them all. Now, Yu's system is not necessarily that complicated, to be fair. I think it's actually relatively straightforward. Though I did think that chanting and incantations, which are pretty cool. And I did want to see a lot more of that in the series, as well as summoning in Yu Yu. And then also, the territory stuff in the Chapter Black Saga was actually very intriguing. That was actually pretty cool system of itself. And I want to see a lot more of that going forward, but like 1 arc left in the anime and then 2 in the manga, so that didn't really happen. But there are some fairly unique power structures in Yu Yu Hakusho. So it's on, I would say, the top half. Like, Yu Yu Hakusho power structure is much better than, let's say, something like Dragon Ball Z. That's without question. However, the Nen system is extraordinarily robust, consistent, strict, and I would say just flat out outstanding. It's part of the reason why the Hunter x Hunter fights are so damn good, because it's the adherence to this strict set of rules. And because of that, there's so much planning and so much forethought into the Hunter x Hunter fights, as well as within the fights themselves. The states of Nen, from like, let's say the very basic states of Nen to the advanced of Nen. For example, you have Ten to Ren, and then you have Ren to Ken, where you maintain that state of Ren for a prolonged period of time. You have something like Zetsu, where you shut off your aura, and then you have In, which is the more advanced version of Zetsu, which can even apply to your actual Nen aura type. Very well thought out in of itself, in terms of those basic and advanced concepts of Nen that are used regularly throughout the entire series. Speaking of which, the 6 Nen aura categories, which ties into the Nen principles, I think is a very, very dope structure. You have enhancement, like Gon Freaks. You have emissions, like Leorio. You have transmutation, like Killua. You have conjuration, like Kurapika. You have manipulation, like Illumi. And then you have, of course, specialization, like Kurolo Lucifer. Love it. Love it, 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 love it. One's aura type, according to Hisoka, can also link up with one personality. Like, for example, people that are missions are very aggressive, very snappy. And that's someone like Leorio, absolutely. People that are conjurers are very conservative. They kind of plan things out a lot. They maintain a calm, cool, collected mind at all times. That's someone like Kurapika. I love the fact that someone like Hisoka actually figured out that someone's personality would also probably indicate their Nen aura category, which is dope. That's very dope. But then starting from there, you have the Nen aura subcategories. Like you have the curses, or you have the parasitic Nen groups, which would be what we see now with the Guardian Spirit Beast. You have oaths that you can make to your Nen, like Kurapika, where he made an oath to his own Nen, thereby restricting himself if he were to use a set of powers against non-Phantom Troop members, which is one of the core reasons why his Nen is so effective against the Phantom Troop members. And then, the dynamics of aura levels between each of the other categories is robust. Woo! Okay, very simple. A transmuter will only ever be able to use 80% of their total enhancer aura, compared to an enhancer who has the same physical body strength. So for example, if you have 2 Ronnie Colemans, just thick at prime Ronnie Colemans, yoked up, steroided up, crazy muscle. One's an enhancer, one's a transmuter. If they punch each other at full power, the enhancer one is going to win over the transmuter one, because the enhancer one can utilize 100% of their enhancer Nen, whereas the transmuter can only utilize 80% of their enhancer Nen. However, the transmuter can also change their Nen to, let's say, fire-based punch, whereas the enhancer can do that, but not to the same level. Easy! And whatever your aura affinity is will dictate the percentage of Nen capability that you have with another Nen aura type. Man. And then there are more levels. There's more levels to this, mind you. But let's leave it at that for now. Togashi, for the Hunter x Hunter Nen power system, is goated. He is forever goated in the annals of time.
So call that my introduction, Yusuke Urameshi.
Now the next category, which I think is going to be a lot more straightforward, but it's as true, it is as clear as crystal, okay? Both Yu and Hunter x Hunter have great characters. Think of, let's say, Kurapika. Think of Genkai. Think of Killua. Killua is an outstanding character. Honest to goodness, he's fantastic. But when it comes to the villains and the antagonist, they are a cut above the rest of the pack. There are some amazing villains in Shonen Jump. For example, Makoto Shishio of Rurouni Kenshin. He is an absolutely fantastic villain, I would argue, absolutely. But if you were to rank the villains of all Shonen, Yu and Hunter x Hunter would have several spots, I would argue, in the top echelon of villains and antagonists in all of Shonen Jump. To this day, Toguro shocks me. To this day, when I think about what Toguro did, the decisions that he made, even come the very end after his life was done and he chose to go to limbo.
I've already decided. I would like you to sentence me to limbo.
Toguro shocks me every time I see this man. Who would have thought from the very beginning, when Toguro first laid his eyes on Yusuke Urameshi, he had probably the whole thing set up. He even had, listen, I'm not necessarily a big fan of resurrections, because resurrections, I mean, for the most part, they just suck. Okay, for the most part, they do. All right, I am Shenron. Okay, fine, whatever. However, the resurrection of Genkai is done absolutely masterfully by Toguro, and honestly by Genkai herself through Plu in that final situation when Yusuke needed that last pick-me-up to reach Togoro's level, and even still, Toguro wasn't going full power. And yet, in the final hour, dude, I could go on. I really could go on. But to this day, Toguro shocks me. He's so good. He's so good. I love the fact that ultimately at the end of the damn day, even Koima's like, we just don't know. We just don't know Toguro. After Toguro, Shinobu Sensui. Oh man, dude. Back to back. Absolutely phenomenal villains. Shinobu Sensui at first was whatever, and then you find out the history. Like, he was Ginjo Kugo before Ginjo Kugo and executed 15 million times better than Ginjo Kugo. Not only a good character, actually, because Ginjo's trash, but also in a general sense, phenomenal as a villain. The fact that you have the multiple personality disorder come in because he saw a world of gray for the first time as a spirit detective and need to cope with that. And that in a way does absolve his misdoings and his actions, because the actual true Shinobu Sensui is, you could argue, of pure of heart and sound and body as mind as possible. Because you know why? He has sacred energy aura. Oh, I mean, ooh, okay. So Shinobu Sensui is very deep. Shinobu Sensui is a very deep character, and I loved it. That was fantastic. Kurolo, Lucifer. Hunter x Hunter, very good villain. Arguably speaking, one of the best in the business, especially now in the manga. I mean, oh man, the stuff that we get with Kurolo and Hisoka, and then seeing Kurolo now, you can't help but in a way sympathize greatly with Kurolo, considering where these guys came from in Meteor City, how the Phantom Troop have operated as a group, but then seeing Hisoka, the mad lad of Hunter x Hunter. can't. I don't want to spend too much time with Hunter x Hunter because I'm pretty sure you guys know already, for the most part. Because a lot of folks haven't watched Yu Hakusho. As far as maybe I'm getting too old, but you should. You definitely should. And of course, I'm not going to forget about the great, the almighty, the fantastic Cheetu. Cheetu is phenomenal. Get out of here, Cheetu! Meruem! Oh! Meruem is arguably one of the best villain. Sorry, not one of the best. The best. Let me get it right. Meruem is arguably the best villain and the one of, at least, the best characters in all of anime and manga. Not shonen. No. Anime and manga. That is how strong of a character and how good of a villain Meruem is. He's better than every villain and every character probably in One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, My Hero, Hime Reborn, Toriko, Beelzebub, Fairy Tail. He curve stomps every character in Fairy Tail with ease. Siren, that's an old one. O Parts Hunter, aka 666 and written by the brother or cousin of Kishimoto, and I would argue better than every villain in the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Though to be fair, Wrath is Studley. Fury King Bradley, he's Studley. Don't get me wrong, but Meruem is still better than him. And honest to goodness, when it comes to his peers, we're talking about people like Griffith from Berserk. That is how good of a villain Meruem is, I'd argue. I'm trying to run through the gauntlet right now in my mind about shonen villains, and it's very hard to think about someone that actually beats Meruem. Honestly, I would argue. Now, mind you, I haven't read every shonen, all right? I have not. But I haven't, so far, with my giant slew of shonen, I haven't seen a single person to date that is a better villain than Meruem.
かつてない恐怖の事態へのプロローグが静かにしかし
And then, finally, the arcs. The arcs. Very simply put, out of all of the arcs, top 10, you have your top 10 shonen arcs. I would argue that Togashi Yoshihiro has at least 2 arcs in the top 10 arcs of Shonen Jump history between Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. For me, I say at least, because I would say there's a good chance 4. I would argue almost half of the top 10 best arcs in Shonen go to Togashi Yoshihiro. That one man. The Dark Tournament, forever goated. The Dark Tournament is the best, I'd argue, the best tournament arc in all of Shonen. It is better than the Chunin exams from Naruto. It is better than every Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super tournament. It's better than the Sports Festival arc of My Academia. Excluding sports anime, I should have mentioned that earlier. I'm not including any sports-based shonen like Haikyuu or Slam Dunk, because they're too different to really kind of gauge them in the same category as things like Bleach or things like My Hero or Hime Reborn. But that being said, even looking at the Hunter x Hunter tournaments, the Dark Tournament beats them all. The Chapter Black Saga, I would argue, is fantastic. York New, I would argue, is absolutely fantastic. It is dope. And a lot of folks that watch and read Hunter x Hunter, they preach York New. They preach it. They preach it with their lifeblood, man. And then finally, the Chimera Ant arc. Undoubtedly, one of the best arcs in all of anime and manga. There's no lower. Because if you do put a lower, you're wrong. You're just flat out wrong. That's it. 2 + 2 is 5. Wrong. 15 + 15, 40. No, wrong. What are you doing? Hey! Come on. I remember back in the day. Even if the answer's wrong, back in the day, they hit with a freaking ruler. A, B, C, F. And it hurt. No, the memories. Chimera Ant is outstanding. It's got to be in your top 10. Out of all of the arcs that you can think of in Shonen Jump, Togashi has arguably 2 arcs, Dark Tournament and Chimera Ant. I would argue that absolutely Chapter Black can squeeze in there, and York New as well, without a doubt. York New more so than Chapter Black, to be very fair, because Chapter Black does have some problems, absolutely. However, the things that go down character-wise for Shinobu Sensui, Yusuke Urameshi, and Kuwabara, oh my goodness. These things definitely do bolster the arc. So you can argue at least a top 20 arc in Shonen for Chapter Black. When it comes to the best arcs in Shonen history, Togashi has at least 2 of the top 10. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. In conclusion, I've said before time and time again that if Hunter x Hunter was ongoing weekly, Hunter x Hunter would do better on a regular basis than One Piece. Yes, not Oda, but Togashi Yoshihiro would be the national treasure. He is.
Calm down.
A national treasure of Japan. But Oda's higher on the list. He's more of a treasure, per se. But Togashi would be even higher if we actually had weekly Hunter x Hunter chapters. He would. And last decade, 2010 to 2020, Hunter x Hunter 2011 is the best anime of the decade. Easily. Oh, well, Demon, no. What? Listen. Ufotable, Piggyback, I mean, they're fantastic, and Tanjiro's, okay, he had great moments, and, listen, Demon Slayer has its pluses, and I know Attack on Titan, but to be fair, you guys and gals now, woo, I have never seen a fan base just like that, like, damn, Attack on Titan's great, Attack on Titan's amazing, it's the best, and all of a sudden, last chapter, the Attack on Titan's trash, it sucks, it's awful. I'm like, I've been said for a while now that Eren Yeager is a bit overrated, but to be fair, another video. Another video. Hunter x Hunter is without question the best anime of the decade, last decade. And if it did go weekly, Togashi would be at One Piece. But we live in a world where, these things don't happen, unfortunately. And I, to this day, as a Hunter x Hunter fan, I'm still waiting. As Beyond the Tarot said, no matter how long it takes, I am waiting for the GOAT. And that GOAT is Togashi Yoshihiro. So on that note, let me know your stance on the subject matter hand. I'm gonna see y'all later. You guys and gals, stay safe, be easy, take care, and have a nice one.